Hello, everyone, and welcome to SCORE Fairfield County's live webinar on how to become a trusted authority and enhance the reputation of your business. I'm Bob Hogan, the webinar coordinator today and a business mentor here at SCORE Fairfield County. I'm going to be your host today, and our presenter is Jennifer DeRosa. More on Jennifer in just a minute, but first some brief information on SCORE. SCORE has over 320 chapters and 11,000 volunteers across the country. We are part of the SBA, the Small Business Administration of the federal government. And locally here at SCORE Fairfield County, we have over 130 volunteers with a wide range of industry, process, and subject matter expertise. We offer three primary value-added services to small business owners. First of all, we offer free one-on-one counseling that in these days is via video, but it can also be telephone or email. And you can access that by going to our website and clicking on the Request a Mentor link, or you can use the bit.ly link that you see on the screen in front of you. Our second service is we offer a wide range of educational workshops and webinars, about 150 per year. And lastly, we have extensive resources on our website, including access to subject matter experts from that website. Our next webinar will be on Thursday, July 9th at noon, and the topic is the care and feeding of your business finances with Jerry Ann Cook presenting. And you can find more details and specifics on our website, fairfieldcounty.score.org. And when you're on our website, you'll also find a large number of archived webinars on a wide range of topics that may be of value to you. So please feel free to browse through those. Just some useful information about today's webinar. We have set aside times for question and answer at the end of the presentation. So if you have a question, please use the chat window at any time during the webinar. It's located on the lower part of your screen. You can just hover your mouse over the bottom and click on the chat box and it will come up. And Jennifer will answer those at the end of our session today. We will end the webinar at 1 o'clock to respect your time. And as Elliot has put in the chat box, the webinar is being recorded and the link to the recording will be available within about the next 48 hours on our website. It's now my pleasure to introduce our speaker today, Jennifer DeRosa. Jennifer has been building websites and running her successful web agency, TechCare LLC, for 23 years. TechCare is currently located in New Fairfield, Connecticut, and creates websites and services small and medium-sized businesses and organizations throughout the U.S. Prior to forming TechCare, Jennifer was a consultant for such major companies as MBCC, US Surgical, GTE, GE Capital, Unilever, and Calvin Klein. I'll now turn it over to Jennifer. Jennifer, all yours.
Okay, hi, thank you. Thank you so much, Bob, and thank you for the SCORE team. I can say this is my second one that I've done, and you are very organized. I wanted to talk today about how to become a trusted authority and enhance the reputation of your business, whether you're big or small. I find that this is something that maybe people think is obvious, but there's a lot of little things that you can do along the way to build yourself as a trusted authority, and we'll get into that. So just a little bit about myself. I have been building websites for over 25 years and over 23 years doing this as a business. And I started out selling mine, learning HTML at night as a hobby back in the mid-90s, and loved it so much that this passion of mine grew into my business now. So located in Connecticut, the people that work for me are all either local or somewhere in the United States, and I love what I do. So let's talk about our goals as business owners, or maybe you want to start a business, or maybe you've just started one, but let's talk about some of those goals. So one of them is we want to get more leads. So we want to get them organically. And what does that mean? Like through Google search or Bing search, when people are searching online for something and they happen across your website, however that happens, or organically through social media or some way. We also want to get more leads through referrals. So that means, people that we've done work for before that have been really happy with what we've done, and they refer us to other people. That's a great lead source. Sometimes we may want to run some paid advertising for whatever reason. There's lots of reasons to do that. And then, of course, networking. So going to networking events and meeting new people. But all those, and of course, there's more ways to get more leads, but those are a couple of really good ways to get leads. And then once we get these leads, we want to turn these prospects into customers. And so that is a tricky part. And that's where you have a lot of control. And that's what we want to talk about today. Sometimes it can be really difficult to get those leads, to get those referrals, to get something off paid ads, to go to a networking event and really fit in and click with some people. So all that part can be difficult. But this part here, you have control over this. So they're the most control, I should say. So let's work on this. Let's turn these prospects into customers. And how do we do that? The first one is what we're talking about today, is we're going to build trust. We're going to build trust with these customers so that they want to do business with us. And we do this by offering great information. So we're going to talk a lot about that, about offering great information, and not only selling, but offering great quality information. And then we want to bill ourselves as the authority. This does not mean being conceited or coming off in a negative way. This means you know what you're doing and people trust you. They trust your advice. And then once they're customers, we want to keep our customers happy. So, we want to continue to give great service. We want to be responsive. And another key point that we're going to keep bringing back is we want to keep our customers' best interests at heart. And that is what drives our business, not how great our products are, not how great anything. What our customers' best interest is that is what is going to drive our business forward. So if we keep that in mind, and you always keep that in mind, you're on the right path to building trust. So let's talk about some steps to take. First thing is professional logo. This may seem obvious. I have a lot of customers that come to me that are starting a new business and they want to build a website. And most of them don't have a logo already, or maybe are thinking about it. And, I have a lot of time people will say to me, well, I don't know about this. Look, if you're going to be a real company and you're going to do this, you're going to be serious, right? You're going to seriously start a company. You're seriously going to do this, or you seriously have a company already. Show it with a real logo. This is the basics. If you don't want to spend the money on the logo, then maybe you shouldn't be going into this business. It's super important. Don't cheap out on this most important thing. And this is your branding. If you start a business and you're not sure where it's going to go, it may last for decades and decades. This is your branding. You want something that's going to represent you, that people, when they see that, they know that it's you, and they feel confident when they use your services or buy your products. So as I said, it shows that you're serious and you're going to be a serious vendor. So this is an important step. If you've been hemming and hawing on the logo thing and you're not sure, believe me, spend the money. It's well worth it. Let's do it. You're going to make so much money later on. It's going to pay for the logo in spades. Professional website. Yes, we do build websites here. I'm not saying that for my best interest. I'm saying that for you. A website is expected in 2020. And I think we all kind of know this in the back of our heads. There's a lot of people out there, unbelievably, that do not believe this. It is expected. So you need to have a website. And the thing is that an older looking website, it may make your company look like out of touch. You're not up to date. You don't have attention to detail, and you actually don't care about your customers. So you don't want to give that impression. And if you already have a website, say you've built one on your own, or you've hired somebody to build it and it's online right now, I want you to think about, this is really important. Your website right now, it either builds trust or erodes trust. It does one or the other. It's not your choice. You can't say, well, I know it looks terrible, but I don't want it to erode trust. If it does not look up to date, it is eroding trust. So this is a really important thing. You want people to come to your website because they may not find you first through your website. They might, we talked about the ways that, we get new customers or get new leads. Maybe they're at a networking event and they have your card and they go home and they're going to look you up. Most people just, they might not learn anything new. They just want to see what is your presentation online. And if your presentation online is not great, or it's older, or say they check it on their phone when they go out to the car and it's not mobile responsive, they're probably going to move on. So it needs to look professional, up-to-date standards, mobile responsive. Make sure that you invest a little bit in your professional website. Photos on your website. Before anyone reads a single word on your website, they are going to look at your photos and they're going to look at your images. And I tell my customers at all times possible, use your own photos. Even if, you're a law firm, you're an attorney, you're an author, there's some industries that are very difficult for photos, right? So like if you think of an attorney, like what are you going to take a picture of? You don't want to take pictures of people in terrible situations because you want people to look at your website and feel good, not all the terrible feelings, right? So how do you even show that? Well, you can take pictures of things around your office. You can take pictures of books. You can take pictures of conference room tables. You can take pictures of tools that you use in your business. And then if you can't take the photos or you're really unsure, they're coming out bad or whatever, you can use stock photography. But when you are going to choose stock photography, you want to make sure that you're not choosing ones that I call them super stocky photos. And I'll give you a great example. The image of the person with the little headset with the microphone coming down on the side smiling. Everyone's seen that picture. It is not your business. If I see that picture on your website, I'm going to think maybe, are you serious? Are you a sham? Are you located in some other country? It doesn't show me anything about your business. So, and my third point is the photos on your website, they either, same thing with website, they erode trust or build trust. So if people go to your website and they see those stocky photos that you just purchased, they're like, well, I don't know what these people do. They can't show me anything of themselves. I don't know, they might move on. But if they're looking at your own photos, your photos, they're going to say, okay, this is what I'm getting. And that's what you want. So in tying in with this, if you have a portfolio of your work, if you do something, like that you physically can photograph, like a landscaper, even an electrician or things like that, if possible, show your own personal work on your website. Set up a portfolio. People want to see your work. They want, if they're going to use you, and have the photos professionally taken. It is totally worth the money. If you have any guess about this, you can write to me separately and I can show you I'd be happy to send you a website that my client has all of their pictures taken professionally. He's a landscape architect. And let me just tell you, that website is gorgeous. It builds trust in 2 seconds. We know that those are his photos. That is his work. He did not buy them. The pictures are gorgeous. I have gotten other pictures from landscape architects that, if they take them themselves, honestly, a lot of times there's the water bottle from the guys working in the background. The umbrellas aren't opened on the new, patios that they just installed, plastics on the furniture. The list can go on. Whereas a professional photographer is going to look at everything in the background, things you would never notice, and they're going to take amazing, they're going to know the lighting. It just makes a big difference. So your work builds this trust. You want to showcase it. If you can get them professionally taken, do it. It's totally worth the money. And then show smaller jobs and show larger jobs to attract different customers. So, sometimes I'll have customers that be like, oh, all these jobs are so big and I'm going to alienate some potential customers. And I like getting in some of those fill-in jobs that are, smaller. Show both. Important. Our picture, someone just asked if pictures are being shown. I can show, if we have time at the end, I can show you some examples, not a problem. I have some websites that have really great photography, and I can show you some that don't have such great photography. Okay, Your Google business listing. These next couple of slides are super important. It's probably the most important part of this whole discussion. Okay, your Google business listing, and I put in the little ad. If you can get your Google business listing done before this, that would be great. That is when someone goes and they Google your company, or they Google your name or whatever, it's the thing that comes up on the right hand side. That is a little panel that has the information about your business. If you are not in control of this, you need to get in control of this, like today, like immediately. And so if you look here, I don't know if you can see it, but if you see edit your business information, it's in blue. Okay, so you wouldn't see that. You would see own this business ? And it will let you take control of that business listing. And what can you do? Well, this is really great. So first of all, you're going to get control. And how you get control is you just go to business.google.com. And you can get your business listing that way. That's also how you manage it, like later on, like if you already have control of it. If you go to business.google.com and you log in there, you will see if maybe you already have control and you forgot you did this a couple years ago or whatever. And also remember, I have this sometimes with customers. They will go to business.google.com, they'll log in with their, like they have a Gmail personal ID or something like that, and they'll log in, they don't see it, but they might have another either Gmail account or another account that is actually tied to this. So if you have multiple email addresses and you don't see it, but you thought you did this before, try logging into Google. And it doesn't have to be a Gmail listing, a Gmail email address, I'm sorry. It can be a regular email address that you associated with a Gmail ID. So log in there. Once you log in there, fill out all the information that you can. Fill in your website, fill in your phone number, fill in your hours, your holidays, your photos, your service areas, your description. There's so much you can put in there. You can put your days off for the next 2 years, your hours. This is really important to put in everything. If you take certain credit cards or cash, whatever, there's all kinds of questions and content in there. And put up pictures, put up photos of your work, put up things that people might want to see in there. You know, a lot of times a restaurant will have their customers will put up photos. If they love your restaurant and they love your food and they love taking photos, they'll put up pictures, which is really great. So that's awesome to have contributions from the outside world. But if you don't have them, or you don't like what they put up, fill it up with your pictures. Put your pictures up there. Okay, so next, tied to this, is the Google reviews and responses. Please pay attention to this. This is so important right now. We know we live in a review world, right? So probably many of you, if you were going to go out to eat this weekend at a restaurant, you might read the reviews. If you're going to go to a hotel and you're going to take a trip, if we're ever going to do that again, you might go and read the reviews of what people say. Google, you used to, years ago, when they first started with the reviews, you used to be able to leave anonymous reviews. And a lot of those were fake. I knew somebody, her daughter was hired by a firm in New York City to write negative reviews about all their competition. Yes, that's true. But now you have to be have an ID. And you know what is really great about that is you can go in, if you're reading the reviews and there's a really bad negative review or whatever. Sometimes when there's like positive and someone writes a negative, I go in, you can click on that person, you can see what other reviews they've written. One time I saw someone wrote this horrible review about something, and I checked and they had reviewed like 5 salons, hair salons for their children with the same exact pictures in like 5 different states. So that obviously so then you'd say as a regular person, all right, I'm going to negate that review because obviously this person is not serious. But if you here can leave your, I'm sorry, actually, can I go back? Yes, I didn't have my notes here, sorry, skipped over them. So, but Google reviews are really important. They're really important not only when people find your website, but Google, when they see more reviews is more likely to return your website in search. And you can get your Google review link and send it personally to your cheerleader customers. I highly recommend you do that. So if you want to, you can write to me separately. Give me the name of your company and the address, and I can give you your personal link to the Google review screen, or you can just Google, Google review link, and you can get it by, you find your company on the map and there's a place ID and you insert that into a URL and you send that off. But what it will do is, if you send someone the Google review link that I'm talking about here, it will open up this picture you see on the left-hand side of the screen. So what it will do, instead of saying, oh, can you Google my company, and then on the right-hand side where you see, my listing, which hopefully it's the right one, like click on reviews and then click on leave a review. You don't want to have people do all those steps. Just send them a link. Boom, it will open up right here, as long as they are logged into Google with a Google associated account, okay? And if they don't have that or whatever, I'm gonna give you another option later, but this is what you want them to do. And I usually say to my customers, you don't have to write a ton, can you just write something, short or whatever you feel. And, people sometimes get nervous. Sometimes they're like, well, what do you want me to write? And I tell them, write exactly whatever you feel about me. I don't want to give you opinions. You write. And if you know these are your cheerleader customers, they will write for you. Now, if you haven't done this before, I would suggest not sending to all your 300 customers today, because, it does show on there how often how long ago the reviews were left. So you don't want them to all be on the same day, because I don't know, someone looking at your website, that would erode a little bit of trust, saying, why are they all left on the same day? But I will tell you, when you send the Google review link out, it will take some of your customers about 45 minutes to do it, and it's going to take others about 3 weeks. And some may not do it at all, or some might do it 2 months later. So, I would divide your groupings into chunks and send, like maybe 5 one day, 5 the next week, 5 the next week, whatever. So this is the screen that they look at. So if you don't have 100, set a goal right now, 100 by the end of the year. And if you have more than 100, then add another 100 on. Let's get as many Google reviews as possible. And then when you get a review, respond to all of them. Respond to the ones that are, giving you great praise, and respond to the ones that are negative, especially negative ones. And I do want to actually touch on this a little bit. A lot of people get nervous about they're like, oh, I don't want any Google reviews because they'll probably be negative. Well, if your customers are all saying negative things about you, maybe you need to be in a different line of work. But that being said, don't worry about negative reviews. That happens sometimes. It does happen sometimes. Some things get messed up. We're not perfect people. We're not perfect business owners. We try to be, but sometimes you might have a customer service agent that didn't give the best service. Or maybe one day there was an emergency at your location, and so everyone else had to wait a really long time and no one really knew that, So a negative review is not a terrible thing. It actually shows that you're a real company, and that, that people do have differing opinions about you. Like, people have different opinions about everything, but it depends on the way you respond. If you respond to this, it gives you a great opportunity to either say, you know what, you're right, I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that. We try to do our business, in a different way. And that day we fell down on the job, and you know what, please contact me so, we can offer you a second chance to come back, or something like that. But there's a great opportunity for you to respond to negative reviews and look like a stellar business and build that trust. Because if I read a negative review, some people are just crazy, right? So, or they could have been in a bad mood. And if I see that negative review, and then I see how the business responded, I can be like, wow, they really handle, if something happens in this situation, they handle it really well. I'm going to do business with them. So really, really great idea to ask for the reviews and then respond to all of them. And then, you know, the great thing about this is once you get a bunch of reviews on there, when you have a potential customer, when you have a lead and, you know, maybe you've sent a proposal to them and they're looking at a couple proposals and it's going to be, you know, you against a couple other people and they just need that edge. Ask them to read your reviews. Send the link to your reviews and say, you know, if you get a second, I just encourage you to read the reviews. These are from my customers. They're from, you know, real people. And, you know, just take a look and see what you might get a view into what it's like doing business with us. So that's really important. It's another way to turn that lead into a customer. And then you know, you can pull your reviews into your website. There's lots of different ways to do this nowadays. You can set up that connection between Google and your website and have those reviews pulled in automatically. And just to kind of talk about this quickly about people, I had a lot of customers that say to me, well, can we just get, you know, I have a whole bunch of testimonials, people emailed them to me. We can put those on your website, but like I've been doing this for so many years, people like would write their own years ago. So if I see someone just put reviews on their own website, I might read them, but I'm not going to give them the credibility that I would give to these Google reviews. These ones I trust. These ones build trust. They're the most effective. They help your SEO, which is your traffic, you know, getting your search engine optimization. So getting traffic to your website. Google knows that they're out there. It's just all good. It's all good. So if you have one thing that you're going to do out of this list, do this. Oh, and then I do want to say also, we're going to start getting into some other things here. And, you know, I've been to a lot of presentations, consulting for different companies over the years. And especially when social media first, you know, got popular, when was that? Like in the 2000s, I think it was early to mid 2000s. You know, they would say, oh, you have to do all of them. You have to do this and that and that. And then I would be sitting with administrators and who were scared to be on social media in the first place. Now I think people are less, but they were like overwhelmed. They're like, I can't, how can we do all of this? So I'm not going to tell you, you have to do all these things. I'm going to give you these things. You do what you feel comfortable with. You are going to be successful if you pick the options that work for you and that you have a process in place to get them done quickly and easily. You have to make that process. The stuff that we mentioned before, that's all required, okay? So the website, the logo, the Google listing, and the Google reviews, there's no option. You need to do those if you're serious about your business, okay? The next one's coming up. Pick what fits you best and do it well. And if you can do all of them, that's awesome. If you have someone you can pay someone to do them, that's awesome. If you can't, pick the ones you feel comfortable and do them really well. And then maybe add one on. So Facebook reviews. So Facebook reviews, there's a little section on Facebook. If you go, Twins Barbecue is one of my customers. And if you go to their Facebook page, there's a little question that says, do you recommend them? And is this coming up here? I don't know why it's not showing the next slide here. Sorry. No. That did that again. Isn't that funny? So sorry about that. Anyway, so ask your cheerleader customers. So I've had some customers that they don't have a Google account or they don't have one related or they don't remember their password or they work for a company that doesn't let them, the firewall doesn't let them, whatever. Doesn't matter. Then you can say, oh, do you mind, if you can't leave a Google review, would you mind leaving me a Facebook review? So you just send them the link. It's facebook.com and then your page name, whatever that is, /reviews. And it will go right to that page where the reviews, where they can leave a review, okay? And the same things apply here. Respond to all reviews, especially the negative ones. And then Google is going to actually pull those if you have everything matching up, right? If Google knows about your Facebook account and vice versa, they are going to pull that in on the Google listing, which is awesome. And you can ask customers to leave both or one, whatever you feel comfortable doing. I don't know why this, here we go. Yeah, sometimes when I'm clicking, it's not responding. So anyways, then we can ask for LinkedIn recommendations. This is a little different because LinkedIn recommendations are really personal. So if you're like, the main face of your company, or your, the company's really you or whatever, then, go ahead and ask for these LinkedIn recommendations. For the self-employed, it's really going to pertain to your business. And you can do it right from your profile page. There's a little, if you go down to the recommendation section, there's that button that says ask for a recommendation. So you can go ahead and click that, and it will guide you through, and you can go and ask people for personal recommendations. And personally, ask them personally, and ask for one. If you have worked in a bunch of different places over the years, ask for one from each role you've had in your career. That's kind of the general rule to follow about the LinkedIn recommendations. But you can see that builds trust as well, okay? And you have to remember that people have all different, some people are going to use LinkedIn, some people are going to use Facebook, some people are not going to use Facebook, some people are going to look here or there. So that's why a lot of people say do everything that you can do, because you don't know who you're going to hit. Which that has, that's good advice, but in practice, while we're trying to run our business, it might be difficult to do everything. So just to think about, if, someone may be looking at LinkedIn, they may never look at Facebook, so they would see those LinkedIn recommendations. So then there's other industry review sites, House, Homeowner, Angie's List, Home Advisor, sorry, Angie's List, etc. And some of those are tied in also. So these are two screenshots from two of my customers. So on their Google listing, okay? So you see that is pulling in Home Advisor, Angie's List, and Facebook for these two customers, which is really great. Now, the one that doesn't have the Facebook, I don't remember which customer that is, if they don't have a Facebook, or the Facebook doesn't have all the information, so Google doesn't know that they're tied together. But if you have that matching information, Google's going to pull it in, which is great. And this builds more trust. It shows that you are an authority in your area. The more reviews you have, the more people say, wow, a lot of people use this person or this company. And check your accounts on these platforms if you haven't already. Some of them build, like Yelp, they build you a profile, whether you want one or not, it's there. And so you should look, do you remember Foursquare? I don't even know if that's still being used. I was a big Foursquare person. I was a mayor of everywhere that I loved using it. And I remember going to, places. I remember specifically a local restaurant. I went there and they had some negative reviews. And I said to the owner, why are you not responding to that? He didn't even know that they were there. He didn't even know those negative reviews were there. So I let him know. So check your, all these outside places, and find out these websites, see if anyone is leaving reviews for you. Don't forget about that, because if there's a negative review and there was a reason for that, you're leaving that's out there and people are reading that, there's no response from you, and now that erodes the trust. So we want to build that trust. And also too, like some of these like House and things like that allow you to add photos and content. So beef up those other websites if you can. Some require a paid membership, so you may choose to do it or not. Whatever you choose, that's fine. But just think about that. So no, this is just so fun. Oh, here we go. Be a teacher, not a salesperson. This is great advice. You can build a lot of trust by explaining your industry and things about your industry and trends in your industry to potential customers. And there's a great saying, it's a book, I brought this book for my children years ago, Show, Don't Tell. And if you can let people draw their own conclusion, but if you can show evidence of something, you don't have to tell the people what the final result is. You show them, they will deduce that. So when it comes to like any kind of information you're putting out, content you're putting out, think about showing and not telling, instead of saying, this is a great, in my case, this is a great website we just built. I'm not going to say that, because you may not think that, but I think it. I don't need to say this is a great website. I can say, here's a website that we built. It took this long. These photos, we made sure they were all optimized. This site, is responsive on mobile phones. It does this. This site has call to actions in these certain places to encourage people to sign up for things. This website has this, links to blog posts that relate to this category on this page, whatever it is. People will they will deduce that it's a good website. So thinking of that show, don't tell, that builds a lot of trust with people, because you're not trying to push them, you're trying to educate them. When you are a teacher, people feel you care about their best interests. So when we're going to sell, or we want to get a new customer in the door, if somebody doesn't feel like you have their best interests at heart, they're going to think they're just going to get scammed and their money's going to be taken, and they don't feel comfortable with that. Think about people you've chosen to either do work on your home, or as your attorney, or doing any kind of work for your business. Like, somehow, hopefully they made you, unless you had no other options, made you feel like they cared about your best interest. So keep that in mind. That completely builds trust. If you have that mindset all the time, you're just going to do a great job. And using this philosophy for any content that you generate. So, oh, blogging. Yeah, you know what? I wonder if I missed it. Let me just make sure. I did miss a screen. So active social media. So when you are able to, try to post on social media. And this is where I say, do the ones that you feel comfortable. If you are not feel comfortable making TikToks, or you do not feel comfortable on Instagram or on Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter, don't do the ones that you don't feel comfortable with. Do the ones that you do. If you can do all of them, then that's really great. But do the one that you feel comfortable, that you can set up a process for, and create interesting content. And then after you create that content, link to it. Okay, so what do I mean by that? Creating interesting content is now, so for example, if I was a landscaper, I'll just use that as an example. And I go out to my jobs every day. Maybe I'm the owner of the company, so maybe I don't push the mower, but I go out and I check on how my teams are doing, right? So if I go out and I see that they've done a really great job and they're in the process of edging an area, I might pull out my camera and say, hi, I'm so-and-so from this, whatever. Today we're working on edging a front yard, and I want to show you the difference of how it looks. And here's an example of how it looked before. This section we haven't done yet. Here's we have done. And this is how we're doing it. We're using these tools. We're making sure that we pay attention to this. The gutter drips here. Like, show that, like, remember Bob Vila, this old house? I don't know how old you are, but like little Bob Vila movies. If you can do that, like all the time, just on the fly, boy, does that build trust with people. If people see you out there giving information, oh, that's how I do that. That I can fix this on my own. What happens is they see that content, they build trust with you, they trust you, they're going to go back and view more information wherever you post it on your website, whatever. And then when they have a bigger job, they're already following you. They already believe what you say. You've helped them out. Now they might engage you and pay for your services. And then when you create that content, so say you put it on YouTube channel or whatever, link to it, put it on, add it to make a new blog post and link over, write a little synopsis, put the video there so that people see it. Or if you put a blog post on there, put a link to your blog on all the social media. Remember to use different platforms, because as I said before, customers use different platforms. So like, for example, if you write a blog post, anyone who comes to your website and happens to click on the blog tab and happens to read the article will read your article, right? Or someone who Googles that information, and if it comes up in the beginning, they'll find it. But there's a lot of other people that won't find it. So go to LinkedIn and put a little link to it, to your blog on LinkedIn. Do that on Facebook. Do that on Twitter. Email it out. Send out your email. Like, I just created this. It might help you in this way. Send it out. So think of everything as a web. Like, whenever you put one thing out, try to link it from multiple different platforms so that you have more visibility, so that the people that are on one platform will see it, and you want the people on the other platform also to see it. And don't forget about YouTube or Vimeo, whatever you're doing for your hosting of your videos. But super ideas right there to be active in social media. And then we did this slide, so now I'll skip over to blog. So blog, everyone, my customers always like, I want to blog, but I don't have the time and they don't know what to write about. And it's a nice idea and I get it. And some of my customers have a company, they pay a company to write posts for them, and that's fine too. But, you know, first of all, if you're going to start a blog, pick a theme. Like, do you want to be funny? Do you want to be educational? Whatever it is, you want to be serious? Do you want to be thought-provoking? Like, how do you want, what kind of topics do you want to write about? What's your theme? And then think of your blog as a learning center. Those are the most effective blogs. So instead of just writing about, you know, oh, we just, you know, did this job and now we did this job and now we won this case and we had this article written about us, like that's all bragging. But how about if you write some like how-to articles, 5 reasons to, 10 reasons not to, whatever. Like those are all learning articles, and it again builds trust because you're showing, not telling. You're showing people that you know how to do it. You're giving them information. You're coming off as a teacher. And then if you feel really inspired, write a whole bunch at once. You know, I've done that before where I don't feel inspired to write blog posts at all, right? So I'll go a long time when not writing. And then I'd feel really like I'm getting a lot of questions from my customers, which that's a great place, a source of blog posts, right? If people are asking you the same questions over and over again, or you're having to explain the same thing, write posts about that because other people are wondering the same information. So you can do a whole bunch, and then most websites have a scheduling feature. So you can write them all, sit down one day and write a whole bunch, and then schedule them out for the next, you know, 1 a week, 1 a day, 1 a month, whatever you want going into the future. So you're all set. And really important is think about customers and the parts of the buyer's journey. And this is another key point, right? So the buyer's journey, some people don't even know they need your service, right? Like, let's just take hot tub sales, right? So we've been home with this COVID thing. It was really, you know, miserable weather. It was cold, whatever. And everyone's just home and they're stuck inside their house. They don't know they need a hot tub. I love my hot tub, so that's why I'm bringing that up. So anyways, they don't know they need a hot tub, which I think everyone does need one. So they're just going to maybe be researching like dreamy vacations or being warm, or how to, you know, how to like have a vacation, mini vacation at home, you know, things to do with your family when stuck at home. Oh my gosh, those people don't even know they need a hot tub yet. They're way at the beginners of the buyer journey. You write an article about things to do at home, and one of your big points is get a hot tub and talk about how all these great ideas come out in it, that you change your life, you have great conversations with your children, you have better communication with members of your family, blah, blah, blah. You feel warm, you feel like you're on an island, like all this stuff, right? You can tell I love my hot tub. So anyways, those people don't even know, but now they're reading all this stuff. Now you've got them in. So now they may not buy from you, right? They may not buy the hot tub from you, but now they're like thinking, oh, hey, but maybe we should start researching. But they already have that trust built in. So they're going to come back to you when they're making, you know, when they're starting to look for what type of hot tub I want and who are the vendors and the pros and cons, blah, 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 blah. So think about all parts of the buyer's journey, where they are, people who don't know about your product and people who have already purchased it. And what information do they want to know? Okay, so that is something to definitely guest post. If you can, and I'm looking at the time here because I want to answer some questions. If you are able to guest post, which means you write articles for other people's blogs, that's really awesome. You know, find other blogs or other websites that are in your industry. They don't have to be local, or they can be local, whatever you want. And just say, you know, I would like to write an article for you. And there is, you know, some people want to sell you or put their articles on your website, and they're doing it for SEO purposes, and it's just really not probably in your best interest. But talk to the people, try to form a relationship with people, owners of other websites, and see if you can, you know, guest post over there. It shows that you are an industry leader, that you have expertise in this area, so that other companies want to post your articles. And then when if you get that, which is really awesome, push those out to social media, like put a link to it in all your social media accounts, put it on your website, and send it out through your own email group list, I should say. So email out quality information. So if you have an email list already built, send out quality information, not only sales, not only like, oh, here's all the jobs we did this week. It's not a bragging time. I mean, you can do a little bit of that, of course. I think that's great because people do want to see that sometimes. But send out quality information. Like, have you ever wondered how to, like maybe if you're a law firm, like have you ever, if you're going to prepare a will, here are the things you need to think about. Here's a questionnaire, like things like that. Information that's not trying to sell, come in and we have the best will writing services and we have great prices. No, we're the experts. Send out like, here's how to get ready to write a will. So thinking about how to send out quality information over time. Get people to read your content. Have your readers' best interests at heart, right? So think about what do they want to know and provide that information. Get into your mind of your customer. If they read that information that you're sending out as quality information, that builds trust with you. They will do business with you. And when you have, send them back to your website if you can, or even to other websites. You can send them to other websites as well. If you have really good websites that you recommend or whatever, send out, those links to other websites. Oh, here, I don't know why it's skipping. I'm sorry about that. So create professional proposals. Not a super big one, but you don't want to get to this stage and all of a sudden I have right now, I have a proposal out to, I'm hoping to get this job. I really want it. I really like the gentleman. I like his business. I know I can help him with his business processes. Like he will be so thrilled because it's really going to propel him into a new situation. So I really want this job. This is actually currently happening. I sent him our proposal. He actually said, your proposal was so thorough. I was so impressed. So that may land me the job. It may land it, right? So do it, like you don't want to lose the person there. You don't want to lose them at that last minute, okay? So in the proposals, what we recommend is put the pricing up front. People want to know the price, right? I see a lot of proposals, the pricing's at the end. Then they have a list about our company, our team, and all kinds of stuff. Pricing up front. People want to know the bottom line. And then think about what potential customers want to read here, right? So not what you think would be good. Like we want to tell them about our team and all yours. If you've already had a talking relationship with somebody and they already know about your team or they didn't even ask about it or whatever, then put that in there. Put information about your services you're offering. So think about what the customer wants to know. Describe in more detail stuff that they can read on their own so you don't have to explain it to them. And there's systems that exist that allow you to see, like for example, when a person has opened the proposal, you can allow for e-signing, you can allow for payments, you can allow for saved content. So you just pull in whatever content, you write it once and then you're like, okay, they want this job and you pull in those pieces. So definitely think about proposals. That's a professional proposal. That's important. And then my next slide here is use professional payment options. So this is an easy step. We don't want customers having a hard time paying. Make sure it's super easy. You don't want to get stuck on the money and how they're getting focused so much on the money. You want to have them being trust of you and your business and not getting the money. So let's set that up. Spend some money on a system that works well so you can take it. Go public with a podcast, TV show, or newspaper articles. This you can be creative and it's a lot of work, but it pays off. And they're neutral parties. So if you're featured, you instantly gain trust. Instead of something that's coming out from you is coming out from another source. Oh my gosh, great way to build trust. So that's another good idea. And then if you're on a podcast or a TV show, or you have a newspaper article about anything like that, let people know. Put it on social media, email it out, and blog it. And then attend industry conferences and share those things. So if you can go, it shows that you participate in the industry. It builds trust immediately if people know that you're going to this convention or that, whenever we're able to have conventions again. But and it also shows that you're constantly learning, like you're not stuck. Like, I don't want to go to an orthopedic doctor that has not learned the newest ways to do laparoscopic surgery, right? So we want to go with a doctor that's going to be constantly learning and going to these industry events, and then we know that they're going there. It shows your passion for the industry as well. It shows that you're up on new trends and you have passion for new trends, and potential customers will believe that you take this information that you're learning, you put it into your daily process, and it's going to benefit them. And then be everywhere. Give talks, let people know, think like a trusted authority, believe you're a trusted authority, and have your customers' best interests at heart. And so I know we just have 11 minutes here, so I kind of rushed through the last, but I just wanted to get to the questions.
That's great. Thanks, Jennifer. We'll use the remaining time here for questions, and we'll take as many as we can up to 1 o'clock. So if you haven't submitted a question already and you would like to, remember you can use the chat feature to submit your question, and Jennifer will start taking questions now. And we do have a number of questions, Jennifer, so maybe you can just, let me see, we'll start with one that came in a while ago when you were talking about photos from James, and he was saying, can you give any insight about photos to use for a psychotherapy clinic?
Okay, sure. So, I mean, that is going to be difficult to get real customers, right? Because of all the privacy laws. So my first thing that I would recommend is to have some family members or people that you know that would be willing to have their backs to the camera and your face to the front. So like you're sitting around psychotherapy wouldn't be around a conference room table, but say you're in your setting in your office and your face is, you're working with these customers, and show like physically, like, you're talking to them using hand motions, maybe leaning in, and then you could just have the backs of these people's head. And, I would pick people that have nice hair, because I have seen a lot of pictures where we didn't realize we were using ads or some things for a long time and people had ripped clothing and things like that. So you want to look at the whole thing, like set up your whole office, maybe take a couple pictures first without the people there, see how it looks. Does it look messy in the background? Do you have to rearrange your books? Do you need to take some of your stuff out, your garbage can out, whatever, and then set it up. Set some up. But if you can do it in your own environment and you can show pictures of you or the side of your face, or maybe you're not really featured, but you're there, my gosh, does that build trust? Otherwise, yes, you can get stock photography, but people are going to know that stock photography. And so there's a lot of psychotherapists out there. How does that make me pick your business over another one? Not really. I do know one therapist, he creates a lot of video content, and I used to go see him, and he was awesome, and he does a lot of video content, and that's another way to build trust on your website. So if you have to use those other photos, but maybe you can make some videos talking about different things that people might be encountering now during this time, or feeling, or how to deal with a situation, or a loved one, or a friend, or whatever, then do that. That's what I would recommend.
And there's a related question from James. You were talking earlier on in your presentation about customer cheerleaders, and can you talk a little bit more about the what and who they are?
Oh yeah, so your cheerleaders are the ones that love you. That just would recommend you, and you know who they are, you know who you've done work for, that the people have been really thankful, and they don't have to be outgoing people. Some people will write a review and they're just very reserved or anything, but those are your cheerleader customers, are the ones that, if you have someone that has recommended to you to other people already, that's your cheerleader, because they're out cheering for you. So you want them. And most people, when they really love when they're like when you're done with the job or whatever you do, and you know that they're thankful, they want other people to have the same interaction and the same result that they have had. People want to have other people included in their group, in anything, right? So they want other people to come in and use you as well, because they did as well. It validates their choices. So those are your cheerleader customers, the ones that have been happy with your work.
Okay. Earlier in the presentation, Jennifer, you talked about aiming for 100 reviews on Google, and Michelle had a question. Is there an SEO or other reason to aim for 100 reviews? Is there some magic to the 100?
No, that's my number.
Okay.
It's just an easy number, and it makes people say, whoa, I can't get 100. So, but you got it. It might take time. You know, I want my customers to try to get 100 reviews this year by December 31st. Set that as a goal. If you don't make it, that's all right. But try to do it. Don't give up.
Okay, and a couple of questions from Jane. Jane says she has a small personal service coaching business, and she doesn't think she could get 100 reviews, but she's starting a new business during the pandemic. And how would you go about handling that with a new business? And she says, I do have some reviews already, but I am about small numbers at this point, and she wants to grow.
Okay, so there's two things. So if you have a current business, and I have had this, I have some customers, for like either HIPAA or through like in the financial world, like a lot of times their customers they won't leave reviews because they don't want to know the public to know who they're doing business with. So they just can't get reviews. And so I understand that. If there's any way you can, and especially if you're starting a new business, you know, one of the things to think about, you can also ask for reviews. It doesn't have to be only customers. It can be people you've dealt with. Now, of course I'm not saying lie. I'm not saying anything like that. What I'm saying is like, if you are starting a new business and some of your skill set, like it has to be speaking in public, right? Maybe that's it. And in your old position, you were speaking in public, but now you're starting a brand new company. It's totally different, but you're still gonna have to speak in public. You can ask people from your old business to just say, you know, I'm starting this new business, be really helpful. Can you just, you know, and if you want to talk about, you know, my speaking skills, could you do that? I don't like to give people too many things what to speak about, but you know, people who've done business with you in one business, they know how you are. So when you start another business, people can write about what it's like to do business with you. Responsive, you know, do you answer all questions? Do you own a problem? Do you give people a break? Do you, like whatever it is, they'll write about your new business. So even if even if they weren't customers of your brand new business, you can feel comfortable asking your cheerleader customers to write something about you. And if they want you to do well and they want you to get this new business off the ground, yeah, they're gonna write something for you.
Related question again from Jane, who's saying that she's good at building trust because she's an expert in her field, but as a solo owner, she feels kind of overwhelmed by all the things that you talked about. And can you give her any advice on prioritization?
Yeah.
That you can't afford to hire everything out.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying. I remember sitting in a room with all these people. I worked at this one convention and they were saying, okay, now you have to be on Twitter, you have to be on LinkedIn, you have to be on Facebook, and you have to have a blog. And they were all like, can we just go home and go to bed? Like they were like, so I get it. So that's why I'm saying, you know, like, I don't know if you took notes during this. If someone wants to copy this, I'd be happy to send it. But just then start with one. Except for the logo and the website and the Google My Business, like you have to do those, okay? So maybe that's gonna take all your energy in the beginning, fine. Then when you have more energy, pick something else. Pick it something that's comfortable for you. Like if you, you know, your phone is older or whatever, then you're probably not gonna do Instagram. Or if you're not like I struggle with Instagram for building websites. Like that's a real struggle for me. So I don't really have a lot of pictures on Instagram. I would love to. If you are do something visual, like you know, like I just keep using landscaper because I'm looking outside the beautiful trees, but you should be having a post a day. It takes 2 seconds to take a beautiful picture of a close-up of a bee inside a flower, and people want to see beautiful stuff. I follow people on Instagram I don't even know because their pictures are so gorgeous. But so just start small and get a system going. Get a system, get yourself set up. If you have the process in place, you're going to do fine. If you don't have a process for yourself, you're going to fail every time. So get one process down, work on that a little bit, then get another process down.
Okay. We have time for a couple more. One from Roberta, who's, again, it's related to photos. How can I take photos when I work in other people's settings? For example, doing home parties in public spaces where I can't get permission from some who are in the background or attending the party. So any suggestions there?
Yeah, well, obviously, if they won't let you, yeah, you can't. But I mean, I would definitely ask every time. And then You know, there is some, I'm doing a website right now for somebody, and they do bar catering. Okay. So they have real, I mean, so we are using a little bit of stock photography. But if you can ask them, but I guess if you don't, there is that area, there is some great stock photography out there that actually can look like you took it. So it doesn't look so stocky. Try Unsplash. That's a website, UNSPLASH. Those are free. You can give credit through the Creative Commons license. They tell you if you want to. That's a nice thing to do. But those pictures already have a filter on them. Some of them are like blurred out in the left or the right or whatever. Nice pictures. And I bet you, in your case particularly, if you look at Unsplash, you're going to find some nice photos there.
That's great. Okay. I think that's all the time we have right now. So unfortunately, we're going to have to wind it up. Just a reminder, though, that the webinar was recorded and the materials will be available within a couple days on our website, fairfieldcounty.score.org. Our next webinar is on Thursday in 2 days at July the 9th at noon. And the topic is Care and Feeding of Your Business Finances with Jerry Ann Cook presenting. And again, if you're interested in free individual counseling, you can see the link on the screen, or you can visit our website and hit the Request a Mentor link. And we'd also appreciate if you could fill out your evaluations that are sent at the end of the webinar. So on behalf of SCORE, I'd like to thank everyone for attending our live webinar today, and especially big thank you to Jennifer for presenting. So stay well, everyone, and have a great day.